Okay, after Green Lantern Annual #1, Sinestro and Hal Jordan have been removed from the playing field. It's the best way to put it. So the Ring went out and sought somebody else. This, of course, brings us to Green Lantern #0. Part of the Zero issues is give you more origins and, in some cases, continue storylines. So the Ring finds a man by the name of Simon Baz. Simon Baz, of course, is an Arab American who lives in Dearborn, Michigan, which, from what I've read, is, I guess, it's one of the larger areas where Ford Motors is very, very prevalent. It's also a very heavy Arab American neighborhood. So, of course, he's become the first Arab American Green Lantern with the word courage tattooed on his arm. Now, to give this more of a sense of realism, they do mention September 11th. So he did actually grow up during a time when he'd been persecuted against because of the fact that he was an Arab American. And he has a degree in automotive engineering. Of course, being and works for Ford Motors, he also does not have a job. So our story kind of picks up with him driving a van. Stolen van. It has a bomb in it. He doesn't know about the bomb, he's just stealing the van. So of course he gets captured and goes through a small interrogation where he's like, look, I stole a van, I'm not a terrorist. Just because, he of course is a Muslim, he is an automotive engineer, so they're kind of, yeah, but you would have access to this sort of equipment, you could build this sort of bomb. So during the interrogation, the Ring finds it. So the story kind of ends with the Justice League being told, yeah, we have a terrorist in the Green Lantern Ring. Sounds like it's a pretty interesting dynamic way to bring in a new character. Does he have the ring that was either on Sinestro or Hal Jordan, even though Hal Jordan's ring was made by Sinestro? Who knows if that likes to be further explained. So the bulk of Green Lantern 00, not to be confused with the 0 Hour Zero issues, is pretty much about his story. They do show part of the weird thing that is the Third Army. There's also a one page that deals with whatever happened to Hal and Sinestro, wherever they're currently located. So it does seem kind of interesting to bring in an Arab American and to make him an engineer. So that means if you want to keep track out of your Earth-based Green Lanterns, not knowing how much they've changed Guy's background as of this time, you have a former Marine who's an architect. You have a person who was a former football player, lawyer, or special education teacher / coach, which would be Guy. You have a former automotive engineer. You have a military test pilot and an artist. Interesting. His costume does very much seem like they took the idea from the book Kick-Ass and just tweaked it. Not a bad costume, because I'll be honest, if you're someone who's wanted as being a potential terrorist, you might want to cover your face more. However, the word courage tattooed on you, there might not be a lot of people who happen to have that. Of course, with the military, the military and the FBI and all the secret services and whatnot are aware that a terrorist is a Green Lantern ring and the word courage tattooed on his arm, he probably doesn't have that convincing of a costume. My only gripe is when they show the initial picture, he has a gun. When they show the action figure, he currently has a gun. On the spread for the Rise of the Third Army arc, they removed the gun, which he doesn't actually need because he's got a Green Lantern ring. All in all, he seems like a pretty interesting character, a nice dynamic way to bring him in. Hopefully doesn't get too lost in the shuffle. It'll be unique seeing how well he actually handles when he faces the Justice League in the relatively near future.